All right, good morning homeschoolers, I'm back. It's Kelly from the Everyday Homeschool, and I've got the video that I promised I would do last time I talked with you when we were discussing loops. So last time I showed you my loop A, and today I'm going to show you loop B and how that works together with loop A to make our morning homeschool routine rock. I cannot believe that just a week ago we were freezing our tails off with the polar vortex that came down our way. We got down into like the teens, which is pretty cold for where we are in North Carolina. But today and the last few days, it's been absolutely gorgeous. It's been in the mid-70s. It's been bright and sunny and beautiful. We've been doing our schoolwork outside. It's so fun. We've been flying kites. Are you ready? Steady? Run!
Run!
Yay! Oh. Darn.
That's why you should let me do it.
We've been playing down by the creek. Good job, Ivy. And we've been meeting our friends at the park. Super fun. Anyway, let's get on with the loops. I wanted to start out by telling you again about this book that inspired me to use loop schedules in the first place. It's called Teaching from Rest, and it's by Sarah Mackenzie. I feel like I was a little hard on this book in the last video. I really didn't mean to give you that impression if I did. This is a good book. I totally recommend it. I learned a lot. I love the Christian perspective. I love the concept of teaching from rest. And to me, what I got out of this was that teaching from rest is actually resting in the knowledge that if you do your best for your children that God gave you, then He will make up what you can't. You can't do it all. So you leave the rest of that to Him, and that is how you teach from rest. And I also take comfort knowing that nobody is perfectly educated. Everyone has gaps in their education, even those people who are superbly educated. Nobody knows it all. No matter where you go to school, homeschool, private school, public school, you are not going to be perfectly educated. There will be gaps in your education. So homeschool moms, give yourself a little credit. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to do it all. You can rest in the knowledge that if you do your part, God will do His. All right, so I'm gonna go back and show you the old schedule that I had put together probably back in September or something like that at the beginning of this school year. So we've been over Loop A. If you missed that video, I'm gonna link up to it here in the corner with an iCard. You can catch all of that. But now I'm just gonna focus on Loop B and what we do for that. Okay, so Loop B, as I mentioned before, is more of a, it's more heavy in the academics. It's more of our core classes that we do on a more regular routine. So this is actually a shorter loop because it's stuff that I want to hit more often with the kids in class. So first we start off with art, and that I've discussed in detail. I have a whole video on what we've used for art. So if you missed that, I'll connect that up top too, and you can check out that link to that video. But just to recap in one sentence, right now we're using Meet the Masters. Okay, and I love it. It's a great program. Okay, so today we actually did science, and this year for science, we are just tapping into this huge library that I've built for myself using the Moving Beyond the Page program. So we are actually using the chemical change unit right now for ages 10 to 12. I have a 3rd grader, a 6th grader, and an 8th grader that are actively using this together in our morning routine. My preschooler also joins with us in this unit. So obviously she's just getting out of it whatever she can. Okay, moving on. The next thing on Loop B is critical thinking and logic. Okay, so this is a fun one that my kids really enjoy, and here's what we're using to move through that loop, that part of the loop. I'm using this right here, Logic Safari. This is book 2 for grades 3 through 4. Now, I know it says 3 through 4. My youngest, well, okay, so again, 3rd grader, 6th grader, 8th grader working on this loop together. And I'd say that this is probably a good level to start at. The other resource that I'm using for logic is a book called The Basics of Critical Thinking. And this isn't so much puzzles and mind bender kind of things as it is like the building blocks of logical thinking, like evaluating different sources of information for their credibility and weeding out information that doesn't support a case. Or let's see, another topic here is identifying facts as versus opinion, you know. So those kinds of things that are important when being logical in your thought. So this is, I feel like, a helpful resource, and we just do 1 or 2 pages of this along with a page in this book. So that's what we've been doing so far for logic. When we run out of this, I'll look for something new. After critical thinking and logic, we move into history. I've tried several things for history over the years. Right now I'm trying something new again this year. We actually started this last school year and I wanted to finish it out before we moved on to something new, get my money's worth, right? So we are using The Good and the Beautiful, History Year 1. I have good and bad things to say about this. On the whole, I guess I like it. I think that it could use a little more hands-on activity. It's kind of a lot of listening. It's a lot of read aloud. There are some audios online that go with this that are kind of cheesy and a little overdone, if you ask me and my kids. But the core message in each lesson is good and valuable. So I especially like the fact that they stop and focus on different parts of history each year. And this year, they focus mostly on American history. Like right now, we're just on lesson 47. We're gonna be doing the end of the Revolutionary War in a couple days when we get to it on our loop. And I mentioned to you the history game that goes with this curriculum. And I showed that that's in the loop A. So if you didn't catch that again, here's the iCard again for loop A. Okay, so on the old schedule I had here, we had language arts as the next piece of our loop. And then there were several subcategories for that piece of the loop. There was creative writing, gumdrops, and GUM stands for grammar, usage, and mechanics, phonetic zoo, which is a spelling program, rummy roots, and then anything else I felt like throwing in. I left myself an open door there with other. So what happened was I felt like, well, each time we got to language arts, I would loop to a different piece of it. So this was like a loop within a loop, and I thought that's dumb. I think I should probably have a separate loop for language arts since it is important to me and something I want to hit. Outside of their core language arts program, I just want to be able to emphasize these things in our group time. So I went ahead and changed up our loop schedule and made this its own piece. So now I'm going to show you the new loop schedule. Loop A is pretty much the same as everything I showed you in the previous video. Loop B has all of the same things: art, science, critical thinking, and logic, history, but I added study skills. I will talk to you about that in just a minute. And then I went ahead and made a third loop, Loop C, which is just for language arts. And it has creative writing, gumdrops, I'll show you that, spelling, rummy roots, and vocab. For creative writing in Loop C, I kind of had a hard time nailing down a resource for this one. I was at first using this little book here, Telling Tales, Writing Captivating Short Stories, because I thought we'd focus on writing short stories, and then over the course of the year, everybody would write their own short story, using this book as a guide. It didn't quite work out that way. This is a good book. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just wasn't really helping us do what I thought it would. So I kind of just set this aside, looked for something else a little more basic, and it came across this writing program that's kind of new on the homeschool writing scene, Write Shop. And I like Write Shop a lot. I haven't used their core curriculum yet as writing programs, but they have a lot of sort of ancillary writing products to kind of help you implement writing at home. And they have a lot of PDF downloads that you can buy pretty cheaply. So I went ahead and purchased, I'm not sure where they are right now either, a pack of PDF downloads that I'm now using as inspiration for creative writing. And they have a ton of writing prompts, both for elementary and middle, and then some teen writing prompts. And so I'm using those to help the kids get creative with their writing in the morning when we hit it on our loop. Another fun thing that I really like to do for creative writing is use this game right here. It's called Story Cubes. If you've ever seen this, this little box opens up and there are 9 cubes inside. They each have a picture on each face of the cube, and all the pictures are different for every cube. So there are different ways to play this game. For creative writing, what we do is we roll the dice, everybody picks a few, and then you have to start a story with the picture based on the picture that comes up on your first cube. So each person continues the story using the cubes that they rolled, and we write the story together as we go. For gumdrops is, I was drawn to it again because it is literature-based grammar practice. You can see the gumdrops here. GUM stands for grammar, usage, mechanics. And it says 90 reproducible worksheets based around editing passages from classical literature. There's the literature piece. I'm all about that. So this takes 5 minutes maybe for the kids. And this, I'm using a grade 7 book, and even my 3rd grader does just fine with it. So she may need a little extra explaining and guidance, but she does just fine with that. Everybody does great with that. Okay, for spelling, we just go through lists orally together using the Phonetic Zoo, which is a product put out by IEW. I do have an affiliate link for their stuff, so if you don't mind checking out the description below where I link to all of these things, you'll see this in here. All right, so after we hit spelling on our loop, the next thing is Rummy Roots, and that's just the game Rummy Roots that we play. And we're working on set 2 right now, and we just play it like Old Maid, or no, yeah, like Old Maid. And if you don't have the card that the person's asking for to make a match, then you dig in the root pile and try to get a match. And so we just match up the English with the Latin and make pairs. There's many ways to play this game. I make a little cheat sheet for everybody. The game comes with one cheat sheet, but I make a copy for everybody so that they can check their own work. And then once we've been working on a set and we feel like we have it pretty mastered, I give the kids a quiz so that I know if it's time to move on to the next set. There are 3 sets. We just finished our quiz on set 2 today, so I guess next time we'll move on to set 3. Okay, and then for vocabulary, again, keeping it simple, keeping it painless. We just go over 1 word each time we hit that on the loop from this book, Vocabulary Cartoon of the Day. And we don't do anything fancy with this. We just look at the word, we discuss it out loud, we use it in a sentence, we try to incorporate it into our daily conversation, that kind of thing. So that is all of the pieces. Those are all the pieces for loops A, B, and C. Now you can see here that I added in, even by hand just recently, study skills. I'm gonna have to make that a whole separate video. I looked and looked and looked for an online study skills class that my middle schoolers could take in preparation for high school. And I found something really great. So I will share that. It's too much to share right now, but I will share that in an upcoming video. So stay tuned for that one. It's gonna be really good. Okay, it's snack time. So we're down in the kitchen for snack with Ivy. If you're wondering how long it takes to get through those 3 loops each day, it takes about an hour to an hour and a half. So we start school at 9 o'clock. I like to be done with loops by 10 if I can. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer. Sometimes I do make the executive decision to cut out one of the loops if we're really behind, if something came up and we need to alter our day. Of course, that's always an option. So you may just decide, today I only feel like doing 1 loop. And so what you would do is you would move your paper clip or clothespin is what I use, or anything else. On whatever loop you get to, you would just move that one down so that you could start on the next piece of the loop tomorrow. But the loops that you didn't get to for the day, you would just leave them as they are and move, or just leave it where it is. And then tomorrow you would incorporate in those loops wherever you left off. So it's really adjustable. And there's never any pressure to get all the loops done on the same day. Which actually adds to variety in your day. If one of your loops is moving along and the other is not, that's okay. You get a different mix of activities for the following days to come. So never feel like you have to be pressured into doing all of your loops, or you don't even have to have 3 loops to be crazy the way we do it. You can only have 1 loop if that's what you need. So, any other questions about loops that I need to answer?
Peppa Pig.
What do you think about our loop schedules, Ruby? Do you like using the loop schedules?
I like
Yeah,
Peppa
but I
Pig.
think that we should do read aloud more.
Read aloud more often. Yes, I know. That's a popular request.
I like Peppa.
Yeah, we knew that. Okay. Is there anything else you wish was different about our loops?
Well, I really like playing those games that, like, balance and
Yeah.
the history one.
You really like game day.
Yeah.
Yeah, more game day.
Mom,
Okay, there you have it, friends. I have just shared with you our morning routine, which includes loop schedules, loops A, B, and C, and all of the resources that go into making these loop schedules happen. It may feel like I've shared maybe too much, a lot. I've shared a lot of resources with you, and it may feel overwhelming just as it takes time to build up a homeschool library. Your loops don't have to be as long. They can be really short. They can be very simple. They can be done with free resources. They can be adapted to whatever your family needs. And that is the beauty of homeschooling and one great quality of loops. They can be whatever you need them to be. This was just inspiration, hopefully, and one example of how they can be done. So I really do encourage you still, again, to try a loop schedule in some form. See if it incorporates some variety, some interest, and keeps things fun and fresh in your homeschool. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's always so good to share a little bit about homeschooling and get feedback. I love to learn from you also, so if you have any comments, please share them. I'd love to know how loop schedules work for you in your homeschool. Thanks again. We'll see you next time, and until then, just keep learning.